Now, this is going to be a bit of a touchy topic, I think, for a lot of people. Now, okay, because I'm going to be coming from a very, dare I say it, World of Warcraft perspective, but rightly so. You know, a lot of us have played World of Warcraft at one stage or another. I'm currently playing it religiously as my main game. So I'm obviously going to compare Ashes of Creation to WoW. And why not? I mean, World of Warcraft has done a lot of things right, and there's a lot in WoW that you just don't get anywhere else. And that's where I think Ashes could come unstuck. So I was having a little search around on Ashes wiki today, and I saw that they've basically flat out said, no, we don't want add-ons. And I think that's a big mistake. And it's not just that. They've flat out said they don't want parsers or DPS meters as we know them, or recount or details as we know them in WoW. I think that can be quite damaging. I think that's quite a core function that we like to see in these games. And I appreciate not everyone does. So you guys that have been playing ESO or Lotro or any other number of games that don't have DPS meters, then that's fine. But there's also a lot of games that do have DPS meters, but they're just manipulated. They're like overlays. You know, they could be from a website that you sign up to. I remember one on Star Wars The Old Republic, which I'd imagine is still probably going, where you would have a parser basically just as an overlay on your screen. So it's not actually built into the game. But why not? People want to see it. You know, that's the reason these people develop these websites, to be able to see their DPS, their damage that they're doing. Because ultimately, yes, people say, oh, damage meters can be toxic, and that's probably Ashes of Creation's developer view on it. They probably see that it can impact the game negatively because people will be like, no, sorry, you don't do enough damage, you're out. But how do people get better if they can't see what they're doing? You know, especially a new game where no one knows, oh, this is the optimal rotation. And ultimately, there will become an optimal rotation of abilities that you use on each of these classes to do the most damage, or, you know, which ones do more damage than others. And this can get really difficult to measure if it's, let's say, a damage over time effect that maybe does an explosion at the end. If you're just going by your overhead numbers, you know, the scrolling combat text, or looking in your combat log at exactly how much damage it done, but then you're trying to measure how much that done over the space of the fight, you know, it's almost impossible without some form of damage meter. And it should almost be core. I think most games now, any MMOs that are made, a damage meter should just be built into the game. We shouldn't need an add-on, so that's fine. If you want to go with this statement on your wiki page, then go for it. You know, don't allow add-ons, don't allow, you know, you want to make sure that the core functions are enough, and you don't need developer, you know, third-party developer-based add-ons in your game. I'm absolutely all for that, if you have all the functions in the game from the start that you need. So a couple of things that really spring to mind, not necessities, but definitely make the experience better. That's a customizable UI, being able to move all your bars, your map, you know, not have presets where it's like, this is the retro look, this is the modern day MMO look. No, have full customization, so you can move every bar, you can move your bags, you can move your chat frames, you can, you know, move every element that's on your screen. And that's something that normally, especially in World of Warcraft, comes from an add-on. You have to download an add-on to be able to do that, like Move Anything, or, you know, a full ELV UI sort of UI package, something like that. But ultimately, I'd like to see that in Ashes from the start, and a damage meter, a healing meter, a threat meter. And a threat meter is huge. You know, playing these games competitively and raiding competitively, just hoping you have enough threat on a boss that could potentially one-shot your mage or one-shot your cleric. Just hoping you've got enough threat isn't good enough. You need to physically be able to see it. So having some form of metering system, I think, is just core to any MMO now. So to flat out say, we're not going to have them because we don't agree with like how they impact the game, and they impact the game negatively, I just can't get on board with that. And obviously I'm mega excited for Ashes. I'm going to be streaming Ashes on this YouTube channel Friday till Sunday this week, as soon as the NDA is lifted, which it's impending a couple of days. You know, we're really getting close, and I'm really excited. But it's these little things that I'd like to see the devs potentially readdress. Just go back and think, well, you know, how much of a negative impact is it really going to have versus the positive impact they all have on the PvE scene. And it's like, an example, I'll use Star Wars The Old Republic as an example, because that's probably, outside of WoW, the game I've played, or MMO I've played the most in, you know, sort of recent years. Now, in PvP, at the end of a war zone, I'm assuming it's still the same now, you see how much damage you've done, how much healing you've done, and how much all your team done. That's great, but if you can see it in PvP, why can't you see it in PvE? You know, so the combat log and sort of tracking is there. It's there in the game. So why not allow it in PvE? You know, if you're going to go, oh, look, you know, this guy's doing so much more damage than everybody else, we'll make sure we invite him to the next Warzone. Or this guy's useless, we won't invite him to our next Warzone group. What's the difference between that and PvE? And I have a feeling probably in some of the PvP scenarios, there might be some sort of damage meter even in Ashes, but it's always the PvE side where it gets neglected. And it's a big deal for a lot of people. A lot of people who have played WoW for the last 15, 17 years, whatever, you will miss a damage meter if you haven't got it. Because if you're like me and you want to get the most out of your class, out of your character, you'll be trying to do everything you can to make sure you do the most damage. If that means standing at a dummy target in a town for 4 hours a day, practicing your rotation, working out exactly what does the most damage when it crits, when it hits, how much damage per energy, how much damage per mana does it do, rather. You know, it's super important to a lot of us. So this was just a quick one, and I hope it splits the audience. I hope there's a lot of you in the comments who say, no, we don't want damage meters, you know, they lead to toxicity. And I hope there's a lot of you who are in the same boat as me and think it's almost shooting yourself in the foot by launching a game without a damage meter nowadays, because it's just an expectation. If you don't allow third-party add-ons, make sure the third-party add-ons that everybody sort of see as, I'm going to say, almost a requirement are in the game. So weak auras, I'm just one last quick point before I end. Weak auras is another one. Fully customizable sort of tracking system. You know, you can automate things to a certain extent. You know, something like that. Actually having that ability in game would be absolutely amazing. So you can, you know, track cooldowns, and that can't be a difficult thing to do, but it would just mean, yeah, we don't need add-ons now. If you was to have something implemented into the game like weak auras, which, by the way, if you don't know what weak auras is for WoW, it's, you can do anything with it. You know, you can track your energy ticks, you can track your mana, you know, MP5 cooldowns. You can, it's literally, the possibilities are endless. But if a developer, a third-party add-on developer, can create something like that then comes into the game, surely while the game is in its early stages of alpha, it would be great to think about putting something like that in that gives the player so much customizability in from the start, or, you know, at least start thinking about it. Because yeah, I'm going to miss add-ons. I'm going to play Ashes of Creation no matter what state it comes out in, because I'm super hyped for it. The player housing system, the PvP system, the PvE system. There's not a thing that I don't like about it. But the thought of no add-ons and no damage meter is one that I don't particularly like. But anyway, for loads of Ashes of Creation content, lots of live streaming, WoW, lots of live streaming, lots of different games, make sure you like and subscribe, and I'll see you on the next one.